Hello everyone, this is Surya sir teaching for UPSC CSC Anthropology. Today's topic of discussion is a formalism versus a substantivism, which is part of section 3 of paper 1 of UPSC Mains Anthropology syllabus. So there are two schools of views in economic anthropology. Economic anthropology is the anthropology of economics of primitive societies as well as modern day societies. In this comparison, only two schools of thought have developed over the time period, also called as formalism and substantivism. The timeline of evolution of the two schools include in 1922 Malinowski's fieldwork in Trobriand Islands. He wrote a book known as Argonauts of the Western Pacific, which led to substantivist thinking and substantivist approach. Because he was a field worker and he took emic view, he studied the Kula exchange, potlatch system of Melanesian societies. He got to know that the economics of the primitive society was embedded in its cultural matrix, and the principles of economics did not apply to its economic exchanges like the Kula exchange occurring between different islands of Melanesia and Polynesia. It slowly developed with the formalist approach in 1937, with Bowling, Goodfellow, Herxkovitz and Raymond Firth articulating this approach of formalism, where principles of modern economics are applied to the simple economies of primitive societies. Hence, it started a debate between substantivist approach and formalist approach, that which of them is correct. Is formalism correct or substantivism correct in studying pre-industrialized and pre-literate societies? In 1960, there was a revolution in substantivism through the book of Polanyi, also called as Great Transformation. It was supported by Buchanan and Dalton, the same that the economics of primitive society are embedded in its cultural matrix, and the cultural practices determine what is correct and what is wrong in the economics of primitive and pre-industrialized societies. Slowly, the Marxist school and the neo-Marxist school developed. The neo-Marxist school was supported by Godelier, Terry and Friedman, and they said that there are multiple modes of production which are subsumed within a single dominant mode of production. So it was a school which came out of the Marxist school, also called as a neo-Marxism. Now we see the differences between formalism and substantivism. Formalism is the economic anthropological study which occurs to the principles of modern economics. That is, the modern economic principles apply to the study of economic anthropology. Now Scott Cook gave his principles in his book The Obsolete Anti-Market Mentality, that the economics is dependent upon profit maximization, rationality in resource exploitation, concept of scarcity and demand and supply principles. That means when you do economics, that means when you sell an item, you aim at maximum profit. You utilize resource rationally so that you can optimize your profit from the same resource. Concept of scarcity: if a particular resource is scarce, its value will be high. If it is in abundance, its value will be less. So these are, and demand and supply. When the demand will be more than the price and the supply is less, the price of the product increases. The supply is more, the demand is less, the price of the product decreases. But these principles were opposed by substantivism. Substantivism is a school of thought which understands economic anthropology or economics of primitive society through cultural perspective. The principles of modern economics don't apply in the substantivism school of thought. Now here what you can do is you can put an exception to each and every principle, like profit maximization. So there is no profit maximization in potlatch system, where you burn the precious things just for due to social activity or due to cultural practice. Similarly, Kogi Indians, the scarcity does not apply because Kogi Indians don't cultivate their land despite land being a scarce resource, because they think that their ancestors live there. Rationality in resource exploitation, again potlatch system denies this, and demand and supply principles are not followed. For example, the exchange between coastal and inland cultivators and Africa. Similarly, the Bushmen of Kalahari, when they do big meat hunting, they redistribute themselves. So the principles of modern economics don't apply to substantivist approach. This was given by Carl Polanyi in its book Great Transformation. Satisfaction of human needs through resource exploitation. Third point, this is a principle of formalism. You exploit the resources, then you sell the resources, then you gain the profit. But in the kin-based societies, exchange and sharing is done. In the primitive societies like Bushmen of Kalahari, after big game hunting, they share the produce. Proja tribe, they also share the produce. So these examples you can link with paper 2 and Indian anthropology. For example, the Proja tribe. The fourth point is distribution and location of industry are on the basis of factors of production. Weber's model. The Weber's rationality model of formalism says that a distribution and location of industries is on the basis of factors of production. So when you use thinkers here, you get more marks. While in formalism, reciprocity and redistribution are the main features. For example, generalized reciprocity between Toda, Kurumba, and Kota. These tribes exchange take place. Whatever they have in excess, they exchange to the others who have less than that. So that is called as reciprocity and potlatch system, reciprocity and redistribution. They burn the wealth in order to increase their social prestige and social status. So these are the examples which only apply to the primitive societies or substantivist societies. Fifth point is that the formalist approach studies the globalized and interconnected world. In the modern day world of digital economy is studied through formalism. Even in digital era or in the era of e-commerce, you also aim at profit maximization. But the primitive societies don't do. They first of all, they're isolated communities. They generally Diku. Santhals consider outsiders a Diku. Inner line permit in northeast. All these are for preserving their own indigenous cultures. Hence they prevent interconnection and they maintain economic exchange to satisfy their needs. For example, Kula exchange is a symbolic activity. The Vedas also exchange, studied by Mr. Mark in Sri Lanka. So they also exchange their needs with others. So in order they satisfy their economic needs. So there is no need for sale and purchase. Similarly, barter system is also followed by the primitive economies in order to get what they want. Now criticisms. Formalist principles criticism is given in 3.1 here. The economic principles are considered as cultural universal. That means the economic principle override any kind of socio-cultural activity. You have profit maximization, resource exploitation, rationality, demand and supply. All on this is considered in formalism. But the Kogi Indians, despite land scarcity, do not cultivate land because they consider ancestors living there. Hence, formalism can be criticized on the basis of these examples. When you use examples, you again get more marks and more substantiation to your answer. Rationality, profit, motive, all these are part of formalism, but that get overshadowed by kin-based relations. For example, generalized reciprocity, which we study in economic anthropology, has kin-based relations and kin-based exchange. So this also again overshadows rationality and profit of formalist principle. Fourth is substantivism. Substantivism strictly separates modern and primitive society. Now here you can be dynamic. You can show a dynamism in answer. Industrialization has taken place and you can link it with paper 2. Money economy has been extensively studied by D.N. Majumdar. It has penetrated inside the central Indian tribes. Industrial nomadism by L.P. Vidyarthi. Again, money economy has come. Tribals are now earning in cash and they are not believing in reciprocity and redistribution, and these activities are coming less. But still the traditional tribal markets in central India, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc. are flourishing among Santhal and Ho tribes. So you can show this balance, that how you cannot separate modern and primitive. Hence substantivism in its absolute sense cannot be applied. One other very important example, negative reciprocity. We see that generalized reciprocity takes place, redistribution takes place, exchange takes place, but it is not always positive. Navajo Indians deceived their kinsmen. It was given by thinker Tim Ingold, and hence can be seen as an exception of substantivism, because substantivism is a positive economic anthropology. It believes in positives, but there are negatives as well. Now in conclusion, you can write that both schools help in holistic study of primitive and modern economic systems or economic systems through culture sensitive and emic approach. So this conclusion is very important in order to give a feel to the examiner that you have written comprehensively. You will again get more marks. Now this again more marks section has come. So here the timeline will give you a good introduction, because in timeline you are showing all the schools. You are showing the evolution of the debate and in very less space. You have less space and time in mains. Clearly define formalism and substantivism. Use thinkers. Never forget polyany, great transformation, substantivism, because substantivism is an anthropological principle. So if you forget polyany, if you forget then you forget substantivism. Link with paper 2 to get more marks. Indian anthropology like Proja tribe, LP Vidyarthi, industrial nomadism, money economy, DN Majumdar, and industrialization. You can also explain neo-Marxism given by Godlier, Terry, and Friedman to get more marks. Here multiple modes of production are present under single mode of production. So you can say that there is diversity in the economic systems, and you cannot divide it into a dichotomy of formalism and substantivism. Relate everything with substantivism and formalism, we'll get more marks. So I hope you like the video. Please like, share, and subscribe at Surya's Anthro for UPSC, and join my Telegram channel at the rate of IS with Surya. If you have any doubts, if you want to get your answers checked, evaluated, or any guidance, you can come there. So please support me, and I'll continue making such videos. Thank you.